Hello, everybody. So I just wanted to share another message with you guys yet again. I'm going to read from Psalm chapter 18, verses 30 through 34 through 35. So Psalm chapter 18, verses 34 through 35. If my cat doesn't ruin that for us. She's like right in front of me. Yeah, my what's it called? My thing broke, so I couldn't put my phone up, but I'm making it work. So yeah, I'm reading in the NIV version. This old Bible that I got from church when I was a kid, it has like watermarks on it. I'm like, dang, what happened to this thing? But anyways, all right, let me read. He trains my hands for battle. My arms can bend a bow of bronze. You give me your shield of victory, and your right hand sustains me, and you stoop down to make me great. I'm going to read on to 36, actually. You brought in the path beneath me so that my ankles do not turn. So it's kind of a short little reading compared to the last video that I made, but hey, it is what it is, so, oh my God. But, so he trains my hands for battle. My arms can bend a bow of bronze. So it's so crazy because when I was reading NLV, it's very different. I'm like, I don't think that's what the Bible said. But anyways, who knows? Who knows, right? I guess as long as we get the idea. But and then you give me your shield of victory, and your right hand sustains me, and you stoop down to make me great. And I know I'm just rereading, but there's just something about it. You brought in the path beneath me so that my ankles do not turn. And that's kind of like old English right there. Basically what it means is that you're not going to be tripping. So basically it just means like, God is going to make sure that wherever that you step, the path that he creates for you, you will be able to walk. You will be sustained. God is going to take care of you. And so with everything in the Bible, with all the promises in the Bible, it comes with obedience. Like I talked about in the last video, like when you obey God, then these promises are for you in the Bible, like everyone's like, the weapon may be formed, but it won't prosper. But it's like, yeah, are you disobeying God and sitting out here and, drinking and driving, and then you end up in a car accident or something, or you hurt somebody and you're like, what happened? And it's like, well, you're disobeying God. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just as simple as that. But when you obey God, he's literally going to make sure that your path is good to go. You don't have to worry about it, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And, you're seeking God. Like the more that you get into this word, the more that you're following God, the more that you're going to see your life work together. And it's not always going to be perfect because there are going to be things that are uncomfortable, but those things that are uncomfortable, it's always going to push you closer to God. It's always going to make you stronger and better. So, yeah, or not Psalms, just Psalm. It's Psalm. I know a lot of people, they're like Psalms or Revelations, but it's just Revelation. There's no S. So it's Psalm and Revelation. But, so yeah, basically the promises are for you. I just kind of wanted to share that little message. If you guys are, maybe struggling or something, the moment that you come back to God is the moment that you see things start to work together for your good. Like you might have to go through certain times in your life where it's hard, but if you see God like every single day and you expect from him, you have high expectations, that faith that you have in him. The higher that your expectation is, the more that you're going to see from him. Because he's waiting on your faith and, do you really trust him as your God? As your father, do you really trust that he's going to come through on your behalf? Because when it is his will, then it will come to pass. Every promise that he has, every word that he speaks over your life, it comes to pass. There's no doubt about it. Like, just like the rain and the snow. We could even go to Isaiah chapter 55. I'm doing it old school today. Isaiah chapter 55. I guess we could just read from the beginning of that. I don't know, I just in the mood to read. So It's titled Invitation to the Thirsty. Come, all you who are thirsty, come to the waters, and you who have no money, come buy and eat. Come buy wine and milk without money, without cost. Why spend money on what is not bread? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Because, like, why not? Okay. Let me continue on. And your labor on what does not satisfy. Why are you going to work for something that does not satisfy? That's my question. Listen to me and eat what is good, and your soul will delight in the richest of fare. Give ear and come to me. Hear me, that your soul may live. I will make you an everlasting covenant with you, my faithful love promised to David. See, I have made him a witness to the peoples, a leader and commander of the peoples. Surely you will summon nations, and you know not, and nations that do not know you. You will hasten. Oh my gosh, can I read? You will hasten to you because of the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, for he has endowed you with splendor. I'm going to continue on to verse 6 of chapter 55, Isaiah chapter 55. Okay. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Okay. Seek him. Call on him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the evil man his thoughts. Let him turn to the Lord, and he will have mercy on him, and to our God, for he will freely pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. So if it doesn't make sense, that's normal. It's normal when it doesn't make sense. And it wouldn't be faith if you knew what was going to happen in your life. And you're serving a God that is greater than you. Wouldn't you rather serve and worship a God that is so beyond you rather than something that you can wrap your mind around it? Because if you can wrap your mind around it, then fear can come creeping in and being like, oh, your God is only this big. He's only da-da-da-da-da, you know? All right, I'll continue on to verse 9. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. As the rain and snow come down from heaven and do not return to it without watering the earth and making it bud and flourish, so that it yields seed for the sower and bread for the eater, so is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. So that is so good. That's one of my favorite verses. The word of God is like the rain, and it's crazy with the weather today, how it's freezing rain, and it's February 22nd. So 2, all these twos, and then it's a Tuesday, second day of the week. And 100 years ago, in 1922, they had freezing rain. I think it was in Racine. I don't know if it was Racine or where it was. I'd have to see the post again. But they had freezing rain 100 years ago on this day, and today there was some freezing rain. So that's interesting. But anyways, in my head, I thought that maybe it symbolized the word of God coming, and it's here for longer than we thought, longer than we expected. So maybe you have a promise and, you're like in the season of that promise coming to pass, whether in like maybe God said that, you're going to get married, or maybe you're going to have a baby or something, or maybe like a certain career opportunity, whatever promise that God gave you, basically, it's this season, it's here, right? It's time, but it's taking longer than you thought. And basically what I think is like, God is going to do it for you, but it's about your mindset, and it's about the faith that you have. It's about like, there's more than one thing that happens. There's more than one thing that happens when it rains, right? It can come to clean and renew, refresh, and give life. So the rain freezing is like, you might feel stuck in like a stage right now. Like maybe you feel stuck in this cleansing part of it, and you're like, dang, when is the flower going to grow? When is this promise like going to manifest, But surely enough, it'll melt, okay? Trust me. I like how I'm making these metaphors. But no, like seriously, like sometimes we feel like stuck in a season, like, oh God, like you promised this and you said it's happening right now. You said this is the season for this, so why does it look like this? And why does it look like everybody else is getting it, but I'm not? Let me remind you that the first are last and the last are first. So if it seems like it's taking time for your promise to come, there's a reason for that. Okay, remember that, because the last are first. I'm trying to think of like an example I could use for that. But no, seriously, like, I don't know if you guys have ever realized that. Like, usually whenever you're the last person to get something, like, there's like a silver lining. You know what I'm saying? You get to see the people before you. If we're talking marriages, you get to see, okay, how did they handle it? How are they acting with their husband or wife? Like, what can I learn from that? People that have had kids before you could be like, oh, how did they do the birthing process? What's the best way to change these diapers? Or career-wise, you get to see the mistakes that people make so that you don't have to make that mistake. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what the blessing is, in the sense, is if you are waiting a long time for something, that's good, because you have more opportunity to learn and be like, all right, I'm not going to mess this up because I seen what they did. And so their blessing might get ruined because they messed it up. Okay. But you, my dear, you already know what to do. And so God is like, I love you so much. You have so much favor of God that I'm going to show you before you receive. So yes, God put you in the season to receive that gift, but he's putting it on pause for a second because he wants to see, are you really ready? Are you going to ruin it? Or are you going to take what I showed you and learn from these people's mistakes and this and that, right? So sometimes it's actually a huge blessing to not be the first, okay? And this brings to mind King David for me. The whole situation with King Saul. If King Saul was an example, he's an example, okay? Like, if he could be an example, a more perfect example, this would be, because King David was able to see the mistakes that King Saul made. Not saying that King David was perfect, but we just see, you know what I'm saying? We just see how pure-hearted King David is. He's sitting here and still being a good servant and a good guy. He's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? He's a good guy. No, yes, he did make some huge mistakes. Don't get me wrong. But, even with King Saul trying to kill him, and after King David was already anointed as king, he knew, he's like, I'm a king. I'm about to be king. But no, he had to wait for the promise. He had to literally watch somebody else be in his position and do it the wrong way. King Saul was out here disobeying God. Not only that, but he was going directly after King David. And King David was called to actually help King Saul on purpose. God did that on purpose. God had a tormenting spirit torment King Saul on purpose so that it gave King David a job. King David had to sit here and help lick King Saul's wounds. And King Saul was literally trying to kill King David because King David was more powerful. I keep saying king. But no, I think it was 15 years. I don't know. I think it might have been 15 years after he was anointed as king. And he had to sit here and do these little jobs until it was his time. But then turn around and look at that. King David, one of the greatest kings, if not the greatest king that we read about in the Bible. Literally, Jesus is descended from him. Not actually, because it was through his stepdad. Jesus' stepdad, in a sense. But that's what they do. They say he's like descended from King David. But, like literally, he's a top dog. He's not the underdog anymore. He's the top dog. But he had to be patient and he had to learn from other people. So if you're feeling like you're second in line, the prophetic number 2 that we're dealing with. If you ever feel like you're second in line, take another look in the mirror, because God does not put you number 2 for a second, or God does not put you number 2 for no reason. Too many seconds and twos, whatever. I feel like I'm getting confused on my own end here. No, he does not make you number 2 for no reason. Okay. He does it so that he could show you what to do, what not to do, so you can learn. It's a blessing. Yeah, I don't even know. I wasn't even expecting to say that. So, yeah. I really hope that you guys can take it from this. I know it sucks waiting. Who wants to sit here and be told that they have to wait? But you know, the longer that you sit around and don't do what you're supposed to do, the longer you're going to be waiting. But the quicker that you literally sit up and say, I'm not going to sit around and be lazy. I'm not going to sit around and do things I shouldn't be doing. I know what God called me to do. And even if it doesn't seem like a lot, I'm not going to sit and be paralyzed because it doesn't seem like something I want to do. But I'm just going to go forth and do it. You know, like, I'm going to wake up early and spend time with God and get into the word and go to church and get out of my comfort zone. Because if God called me to it, surely he's going to see me to it and through it. Okay, it says right here. Oh my gosh, wait a second. We were just talking about no weapon formed against you, and that's Isaiah 54, verse 17. I did not even realize that. So I literally just looked down and said, no weapon formed against you will prevail. All right. Every tongue that rises up against you shall be condemned. So don't let what these other people are saying and what these other people are doing get to you, because if they speak down on you, then that's their wrong. All right. Don't worry about whatever they speak, because it has no power over your life. Just look at them as an example. Okay. So number 2, that's kind of like what I'm getting. Number 2. Okay, baby. King David might have seemed like an underdog, but surely he was not. He was the top dog, anointed, okay? And so if you chase after God's heart, then he's going to do a lot for you, but you have to chase after his heart. You have to want his will to be done. You know, God, I want your will to be done. And if that means I have to sit in this same house another year, if I have to be single another year, if I have to wait for this baby another year, if I have to do this, then so be it, God, your will be done. Because if it's not happening, then I'm not ready. You know, if the promise isn't coming to pass, then that means I'm not ready. Dang, there's like a huge truck out here interrupting me. I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying? Like, God, your will be done. God, if you want me to wait another 6 months, that means that you're preparing me longer. That means I have more of a foundation. You know, one of the things God was telling me was like, you know, bigger buildings need bigger foundations. Houses, little houses, they need a smaller foundation than the Empire State Building. And if you want to do big things for God, then that means you have to have a bigger foundation. That means it takes longer for you to be built up. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Moses was 80 years old or something, I don't even know, when he helped free these slaves. All right? Sometimes it takes a long time. A lot of times it takes a long time. Most of the time, if not all of the time, it takes a long time. Because when God uses somebody in a big way, when he chooses somebody to do great things, it doesn't just happen like that. It takes time, okay? If you're going to be a tree and not a flower, that means you need a lot of rain. If you're going to be an Empire State Building and not a little house, that means you need a big foundation. All right? And so just hold on to that promise. And you're going to be content throughout your seasons if you really focus on God. And it's not going to suck. It's going to be enjoyable. Okay? Because wherever God is sending you, you know, he's going to make sure that you enjoy the journey. Even if it sucks. Okay? Like, I've had such horrible days, but they were still good at the same time. You know, God still had me enjoy that horrible day. I don't even know how, but he did. But it's all about focusing on him and trusting in him. And prayer is very powerful. Please pray. Don't just pray these quiet prayers. Don't be quiet, because you have so much power. Do you hear me? A devil can't do a thing unless you give him permission to, unless you give him legal rights or whatever to, okay? Demons cannot do a thing unless you are sitting here and allowing them to. You have to take up your authority. You know, a lot of witches and warlocks, let's bring that into the picture. That might be a touchy subject for some people, witches and warlocks, or maybe you don't think that they're real. I've met witches before. I've met people who do witchcraft before. I felt like I had witchcraft done on me. I'm not even messing around. It's real. Okay? I know an ex-Satanist dude. And, you know, he came to God and stuff. But like, the thing is that demons will work with people to get power. Did you know that the dirt itself has more authority over demons because it creates life? And the devil and demons, they can't create anything. They can only pervert what God already made. So we see witches and warlocks going to trees and using different things that the earth has to like do these spells and whatnot. But that has no power. When you have resurrection power living within you, when you have life, the power of a life to bring life to any situation. So if there's a situation in your life that seems dead, you can bring it back to life, okay? If your marriage is dead, put in the work, okay? Put in the work. If that person isn't putting in the work and you put in work for a solid year, okay, maybe it's not the one. But like, you get what I'm saying? Like, put the work in. Stop being lazy. When you pray, that doesn't mean that you have to sit around and do nothing. You say, God, I'm going to do whatever it takes to do this. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this work, God. So just tell me what I have to do, and I promise you that he will let you know, okay? I'm going to end this here because it's already 21 minutes. So, okay. But yeah, I hope that you guys have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this, and stay blessed, okay?